Well, welcome everybody to this is the first of the breakout sessions at MarkLogic World London. What a great place. What a great location. And it's interesting to be giving a talk or hosting a talk and having content come into the touring room when one of the big topics in data, but also in the information industries, and that's today's the information industries, has a lot to do with artificial intelligence. So it'll be part of our conversation as we go forward, but it's great to be, the IET has made sure we're challenged at every room to think about something. So our panel today is called New Tools for the Information Provider. And as many of you probably know, MarkLogic, some of MarkLogic's first customers were in the information industries, bringing content together, integrating data, as we heard about this morning, so that it could be presented and understood by customers, not just for internal purposes. And this industry, and what the panel is about, is an industry that's continually changing. So our goal today is to give you a view of the information industry, get you a sense of what we do if you're not in the information industry. If you are, then our goal will be to actually bring you up to date. We have some people here working right on the cutting edge. What are the trends, some of the challenges? What are we doing with customers to lead this intersection? So as I mentioned, change is the only context. How people consume information, how publishers and information providers can monetize it. These two things are constantly changing, and I think it actually has to do with even the value of the content itself. And all of this is in flux. And so we're joined today from experts around the information industries that are guiding their organizations, leading by example, and bringing us into these new uncharted waters. So please join me in welcoming Graham Digby. Graham is a senior product development lead at LexisNexis. This is media entertainment, so you guys have to clap. So Graham, there you go. Georges Sawaya is a CIO at L'Argus de la Presse. And Didier Chevalier is the Chief Strategic Officer at L'Argus de la Presse. So thank you. Now, before I get into their own introductions, I do need to mention the extraordinary effort that Georges and Didier went through to get here. The delay on the Eurostar, the mad dash, and including sprinting up the stairs. So thank you again for making it up here. And we're going to have a great... So this is how I want to get started. It's actually to ask you to introduce yourselves. So tell us about yourself, about your organization, and what's happening for you a little bit in where do you focus your work for the information industries? And we'll just keep on going down the line. So Graham, why don't you get started?
Okay, thank you very much. Hello, everybody. As Matt said, I'm Graham Digby. I currently head up search for the UK legal part of the business in LexisNexis. I should tell you a little bit about LexisNexis. Hopefully I won't bore you too much. I know at least one person in the audience who knows an awful lot about LexisNexis, so apologies for that. Essentially, we are a provider of both content and technology for our legal and tax customers. We're one of the leading providers, and in terms of what we offer, it can be pretty much anything from financial management of a law firm, workflows, research content, which is where I work, customer CRM systems, and we're getting to the point where we're very close to having a fully fledged platform for legal and tax users, so to be able to run your whole business off the back of that. Lexis have been going for about 200 years in various guises, and we've got a fairly solid record of innovation throughout that. So starting off with the first book that was codifying UK law, Halsbury's Laws, all 104 volumes of the encyclopedia, through to the first networked research systems in the 70s through the US. We then put our legal content onto CDs and then online, and we were one of the early embraces of putting our content into XML to make sure we could research it from the web. So starting off 200 years ago as a book publisher, going very much through to being a data provider for our end users. And now the work that we're looking at is very much more about how do we meet lawyers' workflows, how do we solve problems through big data, how do we make use of the emerging technologies, machine learning, semantics, and so on, to basically essentially solve customer problems. To where I come in is a user hopefully will have a problem. They will have a series of inputs of things that they're trying to look up. So this could be anything from, I need a document for this particular legal situation. Is my client allowed to do this? Some of the bigger questions which we can't answer right at the moment, and you'll see why, is what's the probability of my client having a successful outcome? That's quite a big challenge. But those are the things that our customers have as problems, and search comes into that at the moment from, I want to put several keywords into a search engine, making sure we bring up the right answers, but very much more about, rather than providing a set of 25 answers in the right order, in relevance order, more about can we get them closer to the answer that users want. I don't think anyone in the history of the world has ever said, look, I'm going to give you 3 search terms. The thing I really want back is 25 results. And somewhere in the top results is your answer in there. And that's what we've got to go beyond, is how do we use those technologies to actually answer the user's questions.
Awesome. All right. So let's keep going down. Georges?
Okay, so I let Didier introduce Argus de la Presse. I introduce just myself. So
That
I'm
sounds
Georges Sawaya, CEO of Argus.
Sorry, I want to make sure you get,
okay.
get the microphone so I can record it.
So,
with us here.
Georges Sawaya, CIO of Argus de la Presse. I have been occupying CIO positions for 15 years now, not at Argus, but mainly with information providers and publishers.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. And we'll keep on going, Didier.
I'm Didier Chevalier, the Chief Strategy Officer at Argus de la Presse. Argus de la Presse is an economic intelligence company. It's a 137 years old company based in France. And so in this company, we work for 10,000 customers, and we are monitoring the reputation of our customers. So we monitor and analyze all what the media says about our customer, their brand, their personality, their firm. We process and monitor all type of media, press, online press, radio, TV, social web, social network. And so if I just want to give you one figure, we deliver 6 million documents to our customer for a year. So you can imagine that information is really a core value for us. And it means specific technology to process, to deliver the right information to the right people in the right shape. So it's really a very big challenge for us because today for our customer, they really want real time. They really want to understand what is going on regarding their reputation, their competitor, the trend of the market, and everything is going very, very fast. And everything is very, very complex. So in this way, we met MarkLogic, and we built a project with this technology. But I will talk you forward about this. Previously, I worked in a publisher worldwide company. And so I developed activity business with content, but on the side of publisher. And it's not the same topic, but there is a single point between economic intelligence and publisher regarding how to process and to create value with content. The second point is how to make delivery with all type of content for all kind of services and for offer for your customer. So information and process is really for us a strategic point.
So can you talk about a little bit of who your customers are?
Our customers are professional in communication and marketing. Who are in charge of specifically of the reputation of their brand and the authority of their brand, the impact on the opinion of their brand.
Okay, so we've got some tough customers, we've got lawyers, and we've got chief marketing officers, really, ultimately, or the reputation managers. So, as a way of looking at this, I want to take a look back. So we talked and we got together a little bit and we talked about some of the things that all of you have seen. So actually I thought one way to do that would be to have you each talk about how you got started in the industry, and by way of doing that, talk about the context of information provider. What was it like then? What were people, what kind of tools? So you mentioned things, so I'm going to go back to you right away, Didier, because you mentioned things are faster and much more complex now. What were they then, and when was that? So just take a look back and give us a little bit of history, and also how things have changed.
137 years ago?
Yeah, the whole thing. All right, I can put on the timer for 60 seconds. How's that?
So, during the 10 years past, what we observe is really the phenomenon like infobesity with much and much information, much and much type of content. Our customer require more and more reactivity. They also require to understand what is happening around them. It's really, if I try to resume, I would say reactivity and understanding and predict.
Okay, so what's an example from, how was it, say, 5 years ago even? And by the way, it's 2016 now. So you have to remember that, let's say 2010.
5 years
6
ago?
years ago, yes, 10 years ago. 6 years ago, sorry.
5 years ago, we saw social web coming in our environment for customer. So the complexity for analyze and understand the web social it's really an open and large world with a very complex relationship between trademark, media, and opinion. So it's really the point.
It's coming through. Okay, so let's keep going. So Josh, we've talked a little bit about, you have some history with MarkLogic. What was what's a look back for you look like?
So many things change. In fact, before when I worked for publishers, so I had to produce some content and try to monetize it. Historically, it was selling magazines or selling subscriptions. And we tried to monetize more. So we tried to produce once and sell many times. And it was harder and harder selling, so we had to have our websites, even if we lose money. And by 10 years ago, it seems to me that we can monetize with advertisement, but we can really monetize with must-have information that our customers are ready to pay a lot for. So. What Didier is talking about, infobesity, from the IT point of view, changed everything. So before we had data, we have layouts, we have websites, we have to sell it, we have to, for our content, have many websites. And now we have to deal with a huge amount of data every day, every second. So Argus is the ability to process a huge amount of content 24/7 every day in the year. So that changed everything from the IT point of view. So we have to have a lot of CPUs, we have to a lot of power, a lot of storage. Our systems must be up every time. So it's no. When I say it's up, every system have to be up, but we have SLAs. We promise SLAs to our customers. Like if we talk about you on the radio, our commitment is to push to you this information 30 minutes at the latest. So this means we have to capture the radio, we have to listen, we have to pick up the information, package it, and push it to the customer. 30 minutes maximum. We can do it in 7 minutes, in fact, but doing it for all our clients for 2070 TV and radio from the IT point of view, it's very sophisticated. What DJ didn't say is that we listen to 270 radio and TV. We monitor almost 10,000, 11,000 magazines. Mm-hmm. We monitor also 11,000 websites in France. We monitor almost 150 million social media sources. And from the IT point of view, it changes really everything.
So before, this is the current, but going back, was it more of a reporting thing? They would get a report at maybe a weekly reputation report? How big is the change in time for your customers been?
How to say, we have to report every second, in fact.
No, but what did they used to expect? So if you can do it in, if they get it in 30 minutes now, going back maybe, I don't know whether I'm saying 5 years or 10 years, but what did they used to expect?
Most probably each morning, press
morning,
review
okay.
each morning, and not delivering information every time of the day.
Yeah. So it's now just a full-time information feed.
It's a full-time information,
So,
and we work 24/7.
Yeah. So Graham, I'm going to come to you. You probably just always have expected that information's coming all the time. You don't have this history of all these people, waiting for it. So how did you get started, and what were things like when you got started?
Yeah, I actually started off as a customer of Lexis at 18, so I've never actually managed to get away from it in about 20 years. My first experience with LexisNexis was as a law student, and I think this is a good story of how users' needs change and how consumers get more demanding. I remember being in the library using the LexisNexis online dial-up service, looking through some library books, and also looking at CD-ROMs as well to try and do a piece of legal research.
Sorry, I just want to date you and hear the year again.
That was 1995 to 98.
Okay.
So quite a way back, and the first need was, can we just get all this stuff online into one place? Get it all online, and we had a mainframe technology. We converted all the content to XML. We then got all the content into a place where we had several different products that were all online. So we had a European product, we have a guidance product, we have a research product. And then the next need is, well, that's brilliant, you've got it all online now. Now can we get it all in one place? And you can see we're not getting necessarily nearer to where we are now, which is, please can you solve my problem? It's, please can I have all the access to all my information? And then we put all the information online. And one of the interesting things for me was, you get into a situation where there's an arms race as a sales tool. We got 250,000 sources, and that sounds great when you're going out there, until you're the person that has to deal with 250,000 sources. And just because we had all that information online, it started to become a very scary thing for our customers. And so in 2010 was a big step change for our company. We embraced a methodology called CDI, which is Customer Discovery and Innovation. And that meant very much about what is the end user trying to do in terms of, get an answer, get a research document, get a decision, or get a piece of advice. And we noticed that was different to the strategy of, let's make sure we've got everything online, making sure that we've got a relevant search. So 2010, a big change where we're thinking, just because we've got it online, just because we've got a search engine, just because we've got thousands of sources, doesn't mean we're actually necessarily solving the user's problems as well as we can. So the last 5 years have been very much customer-centric research to find out how we bridge the gap between those two.
So and I was kidding about that, but when did you join Lexis from this?
2001.
Okay, so you went through the whole journey with them. When you looked at that research, what are some of the big things that customers are? So you talked about the end result, and that's actually looking toward it. But what are some of the other biggest factors that your customers are telling you?
In terms of the increasing consumerization or commoditization of legal research, our core audience, so pretty much up until about 7 or 8 years ago, was information professionals. These are people who are expert searchers. The search engine is in their head. So, with a good knowledge of Boolean connectors and the sources that you're using in a command line, they can do incredibly powerful searches. They were also the people that paid for the product. So the research budget is where a lot of the search engine and our content budget came from. And we concentrated very much on that user base. And then a small company called Google came along and started to do a very good search engine where you don't need Boolean connectors. And what we found is, and the thing you've got to be careful of is saying our users are different, legal users are different from everybody else in the world. We've got these information professionals, these very skilled people who know how to do great searches. Great, we're done. There's a couple of those in each law firm. They're our audience. They pay for the budget for this. Let's do it. But what people started to see was, well, actually, if Google can index legal information, maybe there's more people in a law firm that can actually do this. So you have trainees doing legal research, you have your associates doing legal research. That's not to take away from the information professionals as well, because they provide a vital part within the law firm. You've got to be careful you don't move the needle too far one way and stop some of the advanced searches. But the biggest change from us was people saying, I want to be able to do legal research the way I find something on Amazon, the way I find something on the John Lewis site. And rather than seeing ourselves as being a specialist search, which we're really, really good at, you can ask an information professional, well, should we change much of that? No, you're cool. This is really, really good. All the intelligence is up here. I can write a great search. You're done. But for the rest of the market, we really weren't done. We were a long way away from there. So getting our product to behave more like someone would use at home.
So it's a shift in the actual user pool as well.
Yeah.
Didier, was that the same thing for you? Have your users changed, or are you always selling to the same people?
Our user change because today they want to get a single point on a portal to get all the information, and they don't want to take to get many tools. We also see that they need to get the right information and to understand relationship between information that on the first side there is no relationship, to help them to understand what is going on. But for us, the challenge is not today not to are looking for keywords or a combination between keywords. Most of the time we are looking for a topic. And in terms of search engine, it's not the same. It's not the same. It's not the same technology, and it's not the same skill that you need in your company. And I just want to say that this point is very critical for us, because when we speak about technology regarding content and information, for us, Argus de la Presse is critical to find a good balance between technology and knowledge and skill services. Because we are thinking content as services.
Right. And that's a big change from just getting people issuing a report in their inbox in the morning. It's moved to a service.
Yes.
So let's, today, and especially we started off the day, I know that you guys were stuck on the Eurostar, but we did start off the day talking about data. And I think we've seen the undercurrent of data. So I actually just want to shift right into the part about the projects you're currently doing. So why don't we come back? So you talked about that challenge, and we have your customer shifting. Can you talk a little bit about the project Liqui and what is its scope? So let's think about what's the vision. So we laid out some challenges, but so what were you trying to address with the project, and what changes or how will it benefit your users as they begin to make use of these new tools?
What we observe now as a weak signal is really, if I want to resume just with a few words, is data visualization on portal, because our user want to understand the complexity of their brand and publics, and what's going on. And so data visualization, it's really a critical topic. And also they want to get a portal with online services. But they also need services to help them to process and create their own value.
Okay. So can you walk us through the kind of what the project is? So people are coming and is it a new line of services for them, or how do people, when they log in, what are they actually going to see that's different versus the current way they get the information?
On this, if I want to speak about our new offer, new online services. On this portal, our customer can find all information, all kind of media, and they can practice their day-to-day business. They can engage their communication on every kind of media. They can monitor, and they can find a dashboard to understand the result of their communication plan. So we emphasize on data visualization to help them to see a large data set, and we don't propose to our customer search tool, because complex search tool, advanced search tool, because our customers are not in-house technology field, so they prefer than we make the search for them. It's easier for them. So
George, can you go through some of the data? You talked about some of the data feeds behind it. So this new project that we're helping you do, can you talk a little bit about the architecture, where is the data coming from, and how you're using MarkLogic?
Okay. First of all, how we work at Argus from the IT part. So we have what we call the data factory. So everything is done there. The huge amount of work is done there in the data factory. And then we deliver to our customers information that they can handle. What Didier said, that we don't have customers that are fintechs or search specialists, so they need to have some accurate information, and we give them this information with a layer of tools that help them handling this information. So we have our data factory, and then this data factory delivers the information for our customers through Lucky. Okay, and Lucky is based on MarkLogic. The back office of Lucky is based on MarkLogic, and we have the front where we have all the services that are proposed to our customers. and what is so it's not just at Argus, but this gentleman is very impatient about launching his products. So we didn't have a lot of time for developing magnificent things, but we have to produce something that was very magnificent anyhow. So lucky is that we had to build something very quickly. We had 4 months to do something that is satisfying for our customers. So we looked for tools helping us for optimizing our time to market, and this is how MarkLogic helped us. So it is the back office or the front, but it is how to say, it is an all-in-one tool. It is a NoSQL database, which is very important in this industry. It is a search tool. It is there is a layer of semantics, and also there are some things, some stuff that are very important for us. So we don't have to build ourselves the system for keeping it up always. So it is built in. The resiliency of the system is built in. So this was a lot of time won for us. And what I can say is that just the MarkLogic part of our project, since we started developing, it took less than 3 months. Less than 3 months for building all the system. What is very important also is that so the IT department of Argus is almost 50 persons. It's not a lot regarding what we do. But we have almost 30 developers, and we are looking for using our developers, developing added value for our customers, and not building disaster recovery plans, systems, or anything else. So MarkLogic helped us, how to say, economizing time and using it for customer added value. So all our developers were working on the front, a little also on MarkLogic, but mainly on the front for Lucky. And this is what has been possible with MarkLogic, because we looked at other solutions, and it was really the best compromise.
So we like the 3 months. And when you talked about some of the data before, is that really the scope of it? Is it the 10,000 magazines? And I think it was, I don't have a number, but it was some 100,000 feeds.
I think that we have, in 6 months, we have almost 10 million documents in MarkLogic.
Wow. So
roughly 10 millions.
How many per day you can see?
25 to 30,000 additional documents each day.
Wow. So from 0 to 10 million documents in 3 months.
Yeah.
So just kind of thinking about what was delivered.
Knowing that there was a history that we
sure.
imported, because we can't reach 10 million in 6 months.
I'm not going to overstep. And so for the first time, customers are looking at this, like you talked about, from a brand, and then they can see all of the information that you collect aligned to their brand. And that's the new product is that they can see everything together.
Yes, they can see everything together, and they can link everything with everything, and this is very important for them, knowing that they are not experts.
Yeah.
So the tool is an expert, and they use it by non-experts, by communication professionals, marketing professionals, and they have everything. They can really, this layer we put over MarkLogic, with MarkLogic, is very important for us, so it is easy to use for non-technical, no search professionals, for marketing professionals. So yes, the first effect is wow, it's nice.
Well, so I was going to ask that. It's
we
early.
launched this product in March, and it's really a success on the French market.
Yeah. So is there a way to quantify the success? I mean, you guys got it to market. It sounds like there's a very, very powerful thing. Lots of new customers, lots of existing customers. How are we doing on the market?
Yes.
All
yes,
good?
we,
You don't have to say. I'm just curious.
le succès de Lucky? Yes, this new portal, Lucky, is really a success because it's really a new approach. We built this portal with our customer on agile methodology. And MarkLogic helps them to build this agile methodology because on the back end we are free with the data, and I appreciate because I like to go fast, to develop business and to test on the market, and to go fast on the market. So I like that with MarkLogic, all content and data are available for product and offer, and I like it. I don't like sophisticated technologic problematic with format, with you can process press, but no radio, but no social web, blah, 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 blah. So I don't like it. And so I think that we find a solution.
So the secret to your success is being free with the data. That's an awesome, awesome quote. All right, we're going to keep going. So Graham, can you top that?
Probably not, no. I won't be able to have such a good quote either at the end. The project that we've, projects on search are never really completed, but that we've had a big release on was replacing the search engine on one of our flagship products, a practical guidance product, going from the mainframe to MarkLogic. The drivers for doing that were several-fold. One of the biggest ones is driven from our own clients. In law at the moment, there's huge pressure on costs coming from a law firm's own clients, and to be able to show that they're showing that they're demonstrating value. There's more legal work is now being done on a fixed fee. There are also, for us, new technologies coming available, and also more content streams coming online, so more open content. And the key for us within the company is obviously to make sure that we're constantly innovating to make sure we meet those needs and provide value both for the customer and the company. Mainframe hasn't really been the platform for innovating very hard on. We pretty much hit the end of the road. We had lots of great ideas of the things that we could do, but we were unable to deliver them either to a reasonable cost or with reasonable performance. So last year, we started off the project to replace the mainframe with MarkLogic. The fun part was we were going to keep the initial application in place, but only replace the search engine underneath. We didn't want to rewrite the whole of the product in one go, because that wouldn't really get us to our need to release something into the market quickly. So very, very quick to actually put the search engine in. And in terms of immediate deliverables, huge increase in performance. So we were averaging around 9 seconds for search. When you've got people also using Google, they tend to think that's pretty poor. So we got that down to a couple of seconds immediately. We were able to deliver a much more relevant search. But the key thing for me is that's table stakes now. Users, if you ask them what they think a search should be, saying that it's fast, relevant, easy to use, you're not going to get any points for doing that now. And what really the benefit of having MarkLogic in place is it provides us with a really good platform for innovation. So some of the things we've been wanting to do for the last several years, we've been doing proof of concepts with MarkLogic and turning them around in 2 weeks. So we've traditionally provided documents to answers to users, checklists. But when we actually mapped out what our users were doing, take out the technology and say, well, how do you actually go across our content? And they say, well, I have a page from this book, and then I want to go over and use a little piece from here, and then I want to use a piece from here. And you're finding that they're not navigating the document in any linear fashion. So rather than the document being the king of the thing that you provide to users, it's creating virtual documents. So for instance, we've got all of the merger thresholds for different companies. We had them in different documents. Well, that's great, but if you want to compare them, now with MarkLogic, we turned around a very quick proof of concept that says, okay, let's take a bunch of countries, let's take 35 documents that explain how the merger rules go, and then let's actually just pull a table so you can do a compare across those. So in terms of the value to the customers, I can see everything. I don't have to look at 20 documents, but we were unable to do that on our previous platform. And to tell you sort of how far we've got to go, one of the best customer interviews I did about a couple of years ago, where I asked a litigation partner. I said, well, what do you need to give your customer? Not just what do you want, but what does your customer actually want? And they said, Well, if we're going to court, what they or not going to court, they want to know what is the percentage. So, that's quite a good thing to answer. Just give me a percentage. What is the likelihood of a successful outcome? And I said, well, okay, so what are the things that make that up? And I was expecting, what the law is. That's our traditional domain. Have you got a good case? Have we got a really bad case? That's going to be the driver. And I said there's about 10 of them. One of them is the legal case. One of them is the costs, which can be based around in our information, based in the customer's own information. Also, what is the judge like? That shouldn't really make a difference, who the judge is. Oh, yes, it does. So I want to know who the judges are. I want to know how many cases the opposing counsel have won. I want to know how many cases our counsel have won. I want to know how often our counsel have been in front of the judge. I want to know if there's any potential reputational damage. And all of a sudden, you've got all of these various data points that we've traditionally thought, well, yeah, you've got a good case. All of these data points that we either have ourselves in our content that we've never really mined before. And actually watched, the other good thing to do is observe your customers using your product, doing something that you've never thought they would do. So I watched someone trying to work out whether a particular expert was any good. I said, well, how do you do that? And I said, well, do a search for their name, not even in any kind of field, then get 200 results and then read through every single one to try and see what the judge had said about them. Thinking, okay, but surely if you put in their name, we actually extracted out the information, did some sort of semantic analysis on, or sentiment analysis, sorry, for what the judges had said about them, that would be a help. Or, how many times has that, expert been used in what type of cases? So it's really been about getting a platform that allows us to get much more value out of our content that we've not been able to do before. And also, not just to be able to do it, but to be able to do it rapidly. So, as I said, we're turning things around in 2-week prototypes now, which, we've never got off the ground before.
Awesome. Okay, so we remember we were late, and now we're still late. So we're going to be a little late. But we're going to try to squeeze a lot into these last few moments, which are actually going to extend to about 10 of them. So one of the things we're going to do is get some questions from the audience. So I want you to start thinking, if you have a question, start getting it going. Don't ask it right now. But I want to tee up some questions from all of you. And I want to go to the panel and ask kind of what you just said, taking a look forward. And then we are going to still finish up. I always like a big finish. So we're going to finish up with a lightning round. So we have to do all this and get you all to lunch. So you talked a little bit about the future, Graham, doing POCs. Just name a couple of things going out in the future. What kind of things do you want to be able to do in your product? Okay. Hopefully using MarkLogic.
Yeah, one of them probably does me out of a job. I think the traditional way of putting in keywords into a search box and then letting all the technology come up with the right answers is something that you can only get so far, and while it's important, it's not going to be the primary way that people interact with their content. So the big things for me are, where are all the inputs for a user's problem? Are they in their Word documents? Are they in email? Rather than having to read a document, think of some search terms, synthesize them, put them into search, get the documents, where are the inputs? So much more predictions, decision tools that say, based on the facts that you have, no one has ever won a case like this before. You might want to think twice or get a really good lawyer. And then also the way people interact as well. I'm quite interested in seeing that where law firms are heavy users of dictation, whether they're a good market for using voice-activated research, especially if you're with someone with a client. Pick up some of the things that they're talking about to actually help give them legal advice, and chatbots as well. It's quite interesting to see how they're coming along in terms of being able to provide answers. So the key thing for me is keep improving search, but look at all the way that people are actually going to interact with getting answers. There's probably a good case that says somewhere down the line you don't actually need a search box anymore. The inputs are already somewhere in the company or somewhere around the user. Right. To look at taking this together.
Okay, Didier and Josh, where are things going?
I don't know.
Well, people probably want things faster. You know that.
So, at Argus de la Presse, what we are looking for today, for tomorrow, regarding these topics, deep learning and predictive models. Why deep learning? So we are here regarding these topics because we think that we are looking for the best way to process a large volume of data, and we are thinking about an open world. So what I mean is that I think that it will be more and more difficult to process information with fixed referential, dereferential fixed.
Patterns.
Patterns, yes, with determined patterns, because I think that we are more and more to process and to work with indeterminism. We are not always sure that what you are looking for, and the Graal, the most valued data is when to find something that you are not yet looking for. So deep learning and predictive are our two topics, and we are working on these topics. We are looking for introduce new talents, new skill in Argus de la Presse to test something with it.
Okay. I want to see if there's anybody has some questions. I gave you a chance. There you go.
Bitemporal. Are any of you using bitemporal?
So is anybody using a bitemporal feature, which would be the ability to see how data in the system changed over time? And I think the answer is no.
I can say no. We do have a point-in-time function that allows someone to say, well, what was the legislation at a particular point in time, but we're not using the MarkLogic function.
Yeah, they handle it. The documents themselves iterate forward. And another question, David?
Yes. So we seem to be moving from a product to a services environment, and a services environment moving towards creating solutions for our end users and for their end users. In that situation, does it follow that we have sufficient flexibility and agility in the way in which we're handling core data to answer these these questions?
And one of the things that, that you're alluding to is very much around the voice and how you deliver content to users. So one of the things we embrace is making sure that we have personas for an in-house lawyer, for a more senior lawyer, and having that flexibility in the content. Say this document may be written with a particular flavour for someone who doesn't understand the law, and we are, with the content systems that we have, ensuring, so a platform like MarkLogic, you can actually combine normally what we do is write the document 3 or 4 different times, whereas now we're looking at saying, well, here's a document, this is the core that could be read by anyone, this is the flavour for this particular kind of user, this is for this particular kind of user. So we can actually have much more intelligent content that means, depending on who the audience is, we can actually show a different product. Whereas before, if you've got static content, it becomes very difficult. One, it's duplication of effort. And two, actually one of the big problems I didn't sort of mention is, if you start writing the same piece of content for different people, it starts to turn up in your search engine as 2 documents that look very, very similar. So the ability to have advanced smart content helps us to do that.
Yes, there. And you guys are talking about free data, so I didn't get you on the future. So, George, you want to give it a little try for how flexible is the data?
So I think that well, there are some principles we have to respect if we need to be agile and handle free data. So we have to have the good system for storing the data. We don't have to. It must be very easy to introduce a new kind of data. That is very important. What is really important also is getting away of every kind of pattern, because they stack us. Anyhow, they stack us, and the patterns, there are costs for maintaining patterns. And it's anti-agile. Patterns are anti-agile. Okay.
All right, so data's free, your patterns can be anti-agile. Okay, I did promise that we are going to wrap up with a lightning round. So, are you guys ready? There are simple rules for a lightning round. I'm going to give you 2 choices, and the only thing you cannot say is both or neither. You have to pick. Okay? So we're going to go with the 3 of you, all of you are going to answer. And we're going to start off with an easy one, which is not easy, which is the future of publishing. Where is the future of publishing? Is it about printed books or e-books? which is not necessarily your domain, but just take a guess. And you can't say both.
Ebooks.
All right, which one are you going for?
Ebooks.
Ebooks?
Ebooks.
All right, ebooks. So we have futurists among us who believe that paper will be better. Okay, how about the information industry, as David was just talking about? Will content will be delivered as a service or as a product? Service?
Yes.
So come on, speak up into the mic. Let's go. All right.
Service for me.
All right. So let's do it again. So service or product?
Service?
Service.
Service.
All right. So we're all on the services side. Okay. Now, just in case you were, make sure you're paying attention. It's Euro 2016. We're going to do the easy one tonight. Portugal or Iceland? Come on, let's go. That's the easy one. Portugal.
Portugal.
Iceland.
There we go. Thank you. I'll just make a note of that. Thank you. And then the hard one, Austria or Hungary. Got to pick both games tonight.
I'll go for Hungary.
Hungary, ooh, it's a good one.
Hungary.
Yeah, Austria-Hungary.
Hungry. Hungry.
Now, two against. I'm glad that. Thank God our partners are in the other room where Alex from EbCon isn't hearing this. Okay, we'll come back to that. Oh wait, bonus. You get to pick overall, free-form overall pick, and you better pick this right. For who's going to win the whole thing? You get to pick. I'll give you a key. I'll give you a hint. France. Yeah, France. Okay, so. I'm sorry. Who will win the overall Euro 16?
Don't say Russia.
You better say France.
France.
Thank you for saying France and.
Italy.
You're English.
You said who was going to win, not who.
All right, let's keep going. Okay. So speaking of new products, do you think VR, virtual reality, is hype, or is it the future? Hype or the future?
Hype.
Virtual reality.
Hype.
Okay, so we have a hype.
Future.
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 Okay, a couple of futurists. What about artificial intelligence? Can machines automate workflows? Does it always take a human? So we're talking about the humans versus the machines in information workflows. Which one do you think is going to win out?
AI.
Machines.
Machines.
We're going all the way there. Okay, now coming back to something lighter. Recently you had the Eurovision contest. So who's a better Eurovision winner, going back 2 years to Conchita Wurst or this year's Jamala?
Conchita Wurst, without a doubt.
Jamala.
Ooh, controversial. Jamala from this year. Okay, well, maybe you've forgotten what Conchita Wurst was like. Speaking of entertainment, going over the entertainment side, where will the future be? Live events or scripted content?
Live events.
Live events.
Live
Everybody
events.
likes live
Live
events.
events.
All right, good. And these are back to us now. Where will people get their content? Will it be one-to-one personalized, or do they need tools like Great Search to help them find it themselves? So either the tool presents the information they need, or they have great tools and they can find it themselves, and you have to pick.
Personalized.
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 What do you think?
Yes, personalized.
All right, personalized, sounds good. All right, and in the future of media, this is our last one, what's more important, data or the actual content? So data about what's going on in the world or the actual content itself? I'll give you a hint, you're at a data conference.
Yeah, data for me.
Data, all right, sounds good.
Data.
I've convinced you all for data. All right, so what's the best way to integrate data? Do you tie it all together with ETLs, search engines, service buses, point-to-point solutions, or do you create a data hub with MarkLogic? All right, just seeing if you're paying attention. Okay, thank you all very much for being a great audience, and thank you very much for being a great panel. Let's give it up for Graham, Georges, and Didier one more time.